Good morning, girls. Happy Saturday. I have a bit of a wild Winnie in my lap. She's been a little wild this morning playing. And she just jumped up here to say hello. To say hi. Do you want to say hi to everyone on devotions? We don't bite, do we? No, we do not. Can you say hi to everybody? Say hi. Say, I'm a wild child. Yes. Mom is taking all the risks in the world this morning. No. Mm-mm. We're learning not to bite, and we're doing very, very well. But the first 25, 30 minutes of the morning, she is just working out all that overnight energy, huh? And she is pretty full of it. First thing in the morning, no, let go of my Bible strings. Let go. Oh, my Lanta. She is a wild child. Aren't you? Huh? You gonna read the Bible? No, you're gonna chew on that one. No. We are actually doing really well with training, but she's a little rambunctious this morning, aren't you? A little rambunctious this morning. We now wear 2 collars. We wear one that's temporary until the pink one comes, and a harness. And the red one is one that I can grab and say nope. She's learning what that means. Nope. Get down. Get down. She just came running into the living room, 400 miles an hour, carrying a gigantic winter boot. Oh, gross. Winter boot. That thing weighs about 10 pounds. They're not exactly North Carolina boots, but they came with us from Maine, and they still get used on occasion during winter yard work. All right. Hopefully it's about, I believe, nap time. So for her, not me. So we're going to give this a go. All right, January 3rd, the flood covers the earth. Genesis 7, 1 through 24. When everything was ready, the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the boat with all your family, for among all the people of the earth I can see that you alone are righteous. Take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal I have approved for eating and for sacrifice. Take 1 pair of each of the others. Also, take 7 pairs of every kind of bird. There must be male and female in each pair to ensure that all life will survive on the earth after the flood. 7 days from now, I will make the rains pour down on the earth, and it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights until I have wiped from the earth all the living things I have created." So Noah, hey, Winnie, what was that? Come here. Sorry, guys. Winnie. Winnie, come here. I'm sorry, you guys. Y'all, this is just toddler phase. This is devotions for now. I hope you're all okay with this. Hold on. What are you chewing? Daddy's other boot. Those boots are not for you. No. Here, take Santa Claus and go lay down with that for a nap. If I wait until nap time to go live, it might never happen. So, sorry. Take Santa Paws and get up in your chair. Get in your chair. Or go over there, whichever you prefer, because you're in charge. So Noah did everything as the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on board the boat to escape the flood, and he and his wife and his sons and their wives. Get down. With them were all various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and for sacrifice. I'm sorry. I need to start this morning over. I'm really sorry. No biting. No. Why don't you wait till she takes a nap? I don't know. That's a good question. No. No. Somebody else want to come on camera and read? I'll bring you on. I can't even find my place. I'm 2 sentences in. Those approved for sacrifice and those that were not. Along with the birds and the small animals that scurry along the ground, they entered the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. After 7 days, the waters of the flood came and covered the earth. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 7th day of the month, all the underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky. The rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. That very day, Noah had gone into the boat with his wife and his sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and their wives. With them in the boat were pairs of every kind of animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along with birds of every kind. 2 by 2 they came into the boat, representing every living thing that breathed. A male and female of each kind entered, just as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. For 40 days the floodwaters grew deeper and covered the ground and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely to the surface. Finally, the water covered even the highest mountains on the earth, rising more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All the living things on earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the people. Everything that breathed and lived on dry land died. God wiped out every living thing on earth: people, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and the birds of the sky. All were destroyed. The only people who survived were Noah and those with him in the boat, and the floodwaters covered the earth for 150 days. The flood recedes, Genesis 8, 1 through 22. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and livestock with him in the boat. He sent a wind to blow across the earth, and the floodwaters began to recede. The underground waters stopped flowing, and the torrential rains from the sky were stopped. So the floodwaters gradually receded from the earth. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time the flood began, the boat came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. 2.5 months later, as the waters continued to go down, other mountain peaks became visible. After another 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the boat and released a raven. The bird flew back and forth until the floodwaters on the earth had dried up. He also released a dove to see if the water had receded and it could find dry ground. But the dove could find no place to land because the waters still covered the ground. So it returned to the boat, and Noah held out his hand and drew the dove back inside. After waiting another 7 days, Noah released the dove again. This time the dove returned to him in the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beaks. Then Noah knew that the floodwaters were almost gone. He waited another 7 days and then released the dove again. This time it did not come back. Noah was now 601 years old. On the first day of the new year, 10.5 months after the flood began, the floodwaters had almost dried up from the earth. Noah lifted back the covering of the boat and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. 2 more months went by, and at last the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you, you and your wife, and your sons and their wives. Release all the animals, the birds, the livestock, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, so they can be fruitful and multiply throughout the earth." So Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives left the boat, and all of the large and small animals and the birds came out of the boat pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and there he sacrificed as burnt offerings the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifices and said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground because of the human race. Even though everything they think or imagine is bent towards evil from childhood, I will never again destroy all living things. As long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night." God's covenant with Noah, Genesis 9, 1 through 17. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth, all the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish in the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grains and vegetables. But you must never eat any meat that still has the lifeblood in it. And I will require the blood of anyone who takes another person's life. If a wild animal kills a person, it must die. And anyone who murders a fellow human must die. If anyone takes a human life, that person's life will also be taken by human hands. For God made human beings in his own image. Now be fruitful and multiply and repopulate the earth. Then God told Noah and his sons, I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were in the boat, with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, every living creature on the earth. Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will the floodwaters kill all the living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. Then God said, I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all the living creatures for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is a sign of my covenant with you and with the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds. And I will remember my covenant with you and with all living creatures. Never again will the floodwaters destroy all life. Winnie? No, baby. No chew. No. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on earth. Then God said to Noah, Yes, this rainbow is a sign of the covenant I am confirming with all the creatures on the earth. Noah's sons, Genesis 9:18 through 10:1. The sons of Noah who came out of the boat with their father were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. From these three sons came all the people who now populate the earth. After the flood, Noah began to cultivate the ground, and he planted a vineyard. One day he drank some wine he had made, and he became drunk and lay naked inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw that his father was naked and went outside and told his brothers. Then Shem and Japheth took a robe and held it over their shoulders and backed into the tent to cover their father. As they did this, they looked the other way so they would not see him naked. When Noah woke up from his stupor, he learned what Ham, his youngest son, had done. Then he cursed Canaan, son of Ham. May Canaan be cursed. May he be the lowest of servants to his relatives. Then Noah said, May the Lord, the God of Shem, be blessed, and may Canaan be his servant. May God expand the territory of Japheth. May Japheth share the prosperity of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant. Winnie? Come here, sis. Come here. Come here, babe. Winnie? What do you got? Something you're not supposed to have, I suspect. Get out of there. What are you doing? There's not a picture of Winnie. Get out of there. Go take a flipping nap. Go take a nap. Go lay down. Gosh, you've got more energy than a Duracell. Go lay down. Oi. Sorry. We were eating things we are not supposed to eat. Sure. Noah lived another 350 years after the great flood. He lived 950 years and then he died. This is the account of the families of Shem, Ham, Japheth, three sons of Noah. Many children were born to them after the great flood. Descendants of Japheth, Genesis 10:2 through 5. The descendants of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. Their descendants became the seafaring peoples that spread out to various lands, each identified by its own language, clan, and national identity. 1 Chronicles 1:5 through 7. The descendants of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were Elisha, however you want to pronounce it, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. The descendants of Ham, Genesis 10:6 through 20. The descendants of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteca. The descendants of Rama were Sheba and Dedum. Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod, who was the first heroic warrior on the earth. Since he was the greatest hunter in the world, his name became proverbial. People would say, "This man is like Nimrod, the greatest hunter in the world." He built his kingdom in the land of Babylonia, with the cities of Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. From there, he expanded his territory to Assyria, building the cities of Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen, the great city located between Nineveh and Calah. Miriam, the ancestor of the Ludites. Mizraim was the ancestor of the Ludites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphtuhites, Pathrasites, Calsuhites, and the Caphtorites, from whom the Philistines came. Canaan's oldest son was Sidon, the ancestor of the Sidonians. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Arkites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. The Canaanite clan eventually spread out, and the territory of Canaan extended from Sidon in the north to Gezer and Gaza in the south, and east as far as Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, near Lasha. These were the descendants of Ham, identified by clan, language, territory, and national identity. 1 Chronicles 1, 8-16. The descendants of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteca. The descendants of Rabba were Sheba and Dedan. Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod, who was the first heroic warrior on earth. Mizraim was the ancestor of the Ludites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphtuhites, Pathrasites, Calsuhites, and the Caphtorites, from whom the Philistines came. Canaan's oldest son was Sidon, the ancestor of the Sidonians. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Arkites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. The descendants of Shem. Genesis 10, 21-30. Sons were also born to Shem, the older brother of Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the descendants of Eber. The descendants of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. The first was named Peleg, which means division, for during his lifetime the people of the world were divided into different language groups. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was the ancestor of Almadad, Shalaph, Hazmaravath, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the descendants of Joktan. The territory they occupied extended from Mesha all the way to Sephir in the eastern mountains. 1 Chronicles 1, 17-23. The descendants of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah. Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. The first was named Peleg, which means division, for during his lifetime the people of the world were divided into different language groups. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was the ancestor of Almadad, Shalaph, Hazmaravath, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. These were the descendants of Joktan. Genesis 10, 31-32. These were the descendants of Shem, identified by clan, language, territory, and national identity. These are the clans that descended from Noah's sons, arranged by nation according to their lines of descent. All the nations of the earth descended from these clans after the great flood. We did it. We spoke the words. We spoke the names. We pronounced them probably completely wrong, but we got through them. So many names. So much inspiration for my next child. I might name my next baby Mash. Not sure. All right. I don't usually read this on the weekends. Should I? Maybe I should, just so we can get through it. No, I'm going to wait. It is a weekend, right? Oh, yeah, it's Saturday. I forgot. I don't know. I've lost track of everything. The Woof toy doesn't come out for a couple of hours. I have it very scheduled, Heather. She gets one of the pre-made Woof treats in the morning, well, somewhere around 11. when I'm in the midst of one-on-ones, and usually when I'm like during the week, I have a section of day where I do one-on-ones and need some peace. And that's where the woof comes out. And then it also comes out in the evening after dinner at about 7:30 when I just need to sit quietly for 40 minutes. Then I pull out the frozen yogurt woof toy. That's become our schedule. Morning and evening. I don't want to give her too much so she doesn't get fat. We don't want chubby Winnie. We want Winnie to stay healthy. So I limit, I can only do it a couple times a day. So those are the 2 times I get pulled out. Maybe I just need to freeze some bone broth, and she could lick that in the morning from her woof toy. She'd probably like that, just plain bone broth, or even a chunk of banana. That's actually a good idea. I could do a chunk of banana in the morning, and that would keep her well occupied. Mercy! She's napping now. And so now I have the next hour and a half of quiet anyway. For sure, Rita will be praying. All right, my sweet girls. I was thinking about going live this morning. I don't know. What do you think? I have some new bottles for pre-making some dressing. I thought about pre-making my favorite dressing for the week, or for the next few days anyway, that I use on power bowls, and the dip for chicken, and I use it for everything, all the things, all the things. I thought about maybe doing that this morning. Maybe I'll go live. All right, my dears, let's go ahead and pray. God, our Father, thank you that we get to come to you in prayer and worship, and that we get to boldly approach the throne. Father, that we can come to you with what's on our hearts and minds, and we can raise our fears and worries up to you. God, I lift up Rita to you today. You know exactly what's going on in her life, and I just ask for peace for her heart, for provision, for her needs, for her family. Whatever the issue is, I just ask for your strength and your provision and your peace for Rita. God, each and every woman here, I'm sure, has many things on their heart and mind today, but as we go through this day, help us to make choices that are honoring to you, that are healing to our bodies, strengthening to our bodies. I pray for peace and for strength, especially in our health journeys as we approach this new year, with the focus on strength and becoming stronger, both in our heart set, our mindset, our worship, and our ability to stay on plan, and just all the things. Help us to be strong. Show us where strength comes from. Make it clear what you would want for us, what you desire for us and for our health, and help us to stay strong in our focus for that for 2026. In your precious and holy name I pray, amen. All right, friends. Barbie, we are just lifting Joe up, and I knew that, and I should have prayed for that this morning, but my mind is still half asleep. I woke up thinking about Joe this morning. So Joe, our friend Joe, that wrote Good Words that we read a couple of years ago, and then, or maybe it was last year, and then the Advent devotional. This would be our sweet Cindy's brother-in-law, and our friend Barbie's husband. Is having his leg or his foot below his knee amputated today. And so we definitely, please be lifting up Joe to you. It is weird to think of. He's going to do fine. I feel like if there's anybody that can face this with positivity and hope and humor, like I read his post last night, and he seemed so lighthearted, and I feel like if there's anyone that will show us how grace is handled, it will be Joe. And it's just a piece of his story, and from it will come amazing words that will bless people. That's what I think. And so we're praying for Joe today. And so 10 o'clock our time. Yes, 10 o'clock. So wherever you are at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, wherever you are at that time, stop and pray for Joe and for Barbie. All right, sweet friends. I love you so much. Thanks for being part of my day. I am going to go get my stuff together, and I think I'll go live this morning to make a little salad dressing, because that sounds exciting for a Saturday morning. Who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to do that? Make salad dressing on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. when they really should be in bed, sleeping and having weird dreams. I don't know. I can't think of a single person. So let's do it together. I love you all, and I hope to see you live with me in a few minutes. Have an amazing Saturday. Bye, guys.